My computer over here. I have my I have my son's, well, I have an extra dog here. But we're going to go ahead and, I wanted to work on this beautiful quilt. Stop fighting. I'm going to have to send them outside and it's hot. So let me put them here. Hopefully you don't move around too much. So we're live streaming. I've already started because I don't want to keep you guys too long. You know, it could be a lot. But let's see if anybody's here and if anybody's making a comment. Hopefully you guys are here. Let me work on my computer. Give me a minute while you watch this beautiful quilt being quilted. She is beautiful. I've already started. Hello. How are you? Hold on. Let me check something real good. Let me know if the volume is good, please. So let me move you here so you can watch this. No, I don't know why this camera does this. But anyway, we're here. Get out of the way. Hopefully the camera doesn't pull some games on me like it does. And I'm going to see the software content. I want to see if I'm live currently. And if I'm live currently, let's see. Community. I want to go on a live today because I want to have you guys watch me making this beautiful quilt. Let me see if I have my phone. Or quilt this beautiful quilt, and since I want to procrastinate and not work, maybe hanging out with you guys will make me like work on this quilt. Hang on with you. Work on this quilt and get her done. Hello. The volume is good. Thank you, Mary. Macria family. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. From the host said, sounds good. Thank you. Rhonda says, it's a beautiful quilt, right? Let me see if you could see me live streaming. See. This puts a lot of pressure on a human being, believe it or not. So when you're watching live streams, just know that the human being that's doing the live stream is under a lot of stress. And then she shouldn't do a live stream. Yeah, I know. So this is it. We have 8 people here. Edit. Let me edit. And let me see if I could do what I need to do. Sorry, I don't mean to be distracted. But look, I'll show you the beautiful quilt while I'm distracted. I'm trying to get this to anyway. So how are you? Texas is hot. We're really hot right now. This is it. Nope. We're in a drought, so they say. Look at it, beautiful. I'll switch you here. Trying to get the camera to kind of showcase the quilt better. I've already kind of finished row 1. And the reason I started row 1 is I saw like we were here forever. And I just, you know, I kind of feel like that's a lot. Save. I'm saving what I wrote down here. I'm trying to get it to, hold on. So we're here and we're working, okay? So we're working on row 1. Let me show you what row 1 looks like. I have little pups. So if you see a little puppy act like a pain, I have my son's dog here. And I'm babysitting like a good grandmother. You know, a good grandma. I'm a good grandma. Babysitting a puppy. And then we finished row 1. And we're going to roll her. So I started her a little bit early because I thought the other live stream went too long And also too, from what I know from the analytics is that you guys are willing to hang out with me for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. That's what I have of your undivided attention. Is that one of the quotes that I got from Etsy? So Kevin is asking, this is his question. Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, if you go on her website right now, she has some really beautiful quilts. As a matter of fact, let me see. I'll even show one of her quilts that she has. What I'm doing is I'm cutting the batting right now. And then she's an Etsy quilt, and the reason I bought these quilts, okay. One of the reasons I bought these quilts is because what I want to do is I want to donate quilts. So Kevin, is that Kevin? Yes, Kevin. This is an Etsy quilt. In Maine, it's 62 degrees. You blessed. I bet y'all think that's hot maybe, though. Here in Texas, I don't know. I think it was a friend of mine's car said it was 110 degrees out here. Can you imagine? 110 degrees. So here, let's see. So we're going to roll her. I'm using batting from Marshall's Dry Goods because since Joann closed, people were asking me where they could get batting, like my clients specifically were asking me, and I told them that they could get a roll from Marshall's Dry Goods, and that roll, I think it's like $6 to $7 a yard, so it's 36 by 90, I believe. Yeah, it's a big giant roll. I ended up buying 2 at the beginning of this year, and let me roll this quilt real quick. So I'm gonna have you watch me roll. And then since Joann has, left our wonderful community, I ended up buying big giant bolts of 108 back fabric. I also purchased that at Marshall's Dry Goods. So if you want to know where you could get so I ended up getting 2 rolls. So keep in mind, I think it's 15 yards of batting, I believe, from Marshall's Dry Goods. And I got, sorry, little pup. Was it 15 yards? Here, I'll literally have the pole, the yardage bolt thing. I tend to, when I'm doing quilts, I cut the batting as I go. I got enough for it, but you know how sometimes batting is wider than the quilt. So I tend to cut as I roll because I've noticed if you roll it and not trim it on this corner edge, you end up having like a big, like thick ball on the edge. Now this quilt, if you could see it, she has, when I put her on, I almost panicked because it was bowing in really bad on one side. And I was like, man, we're going to have a hard time today. But something about wetting the quilt. So if you see, let me move you here so you can see the detail a little bit. You can see that she has a little bit of fullness, but and she's using, this quilt looks like it has some satin fabric, some upholstery fabric. She has a whole bunch of different fabrics. I even think she has like a white muslin on there. This fabric over here on this edge feels like it's upholstery, like a thicker, like corduroy. It's not a corduroy, but it's a little bit thicker fabric. There's nothing like, man, wetting your quilt and starching it, and the quilt itself, or the fiber, the fabric, just falling into place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then I also, the back fabric, if you could see it, hopefully you could still see it, that is one of the Marshall's Dry Goods fabric. Ooh, this fabric is delicious. It's very silky. It reminds me a bit of that tulip pink back fabric that she created. It's silky. It's real satiny. Hold on, honey. It's very silky and satiny. You get to see me. Okay. She's pretty, okay? This fabric is pretty. I think this came out because I bought the whole bolt. the fabric came out to I think 6 to 7 yards. So $7, give or take, a yard by 108. I bought several bulks of this. I bought 2 different kinds, and I'll show you in a minute once I get this started. I bought 2 different kinds. This one, which I believe this is printed fabric, and then I also got another fabric that has like some type of wovenness in it. I bought both of them not knowing what I got into, because sometimes when you get into Marshall's dry goods fabric, you just don't know what you're getting. I'm going to move you here so you can kind of see the quilt. So right now I'm stitching the quilt down. So I'm using, hold on. I believe pretty inexpensive fabric, because I think maybe this fabric, and if I'm really like adding to it, this fabric costs me probably, to make this quilt, $35 of back fabric and probably $30 of batting, because I think I needed 2.5. No, maybe not so much. You see me. Come on, little. Give me a break here. What's it doing? All right. Come on. You see the long arm in front of the camera. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get these points to sit nice as flat, or as flat as I could get. Why are you doing that to me? Okay, better. I'm ironing them as flat as I can get, because I don't want to be fiddling with this quilt. Now, if it was my client's quilt, let me just say, I will fiddle the heck with it. I will be on top of it like I'm a manager or I'm babysitting children. But because this is a quilt that I'm going to give away, so let me say, how much am I in? The top cost me probably $42. The back cost me, and that's me kind of like being generous to myself. Let me move it up. Move this to this. Being kind of generous to myself. I believe hopefully you still see the quilt. And what I'm doing right now is finding alignment. And I'm moving the quilt itself. I think what I want to do is I want to do a giveaway to 2 of the people who did the block swap and who donated money to me. They gave me like an extra $30. One of them was Vicky Martinson. Another one was Deborah something Jarvis. I'm not sure. And someone else. They donated. Like, they blessed me and said, they really blessed me, because they were like, you're eating probably some of the postage for the block swap. And they were really sweet and generous and kind of gave me some extra money to cover that bill right now. So I'm showing you here. Hopefully, I'm not. Okay, I'm moving. I'm gonna move you here so you can see me. Okay. I think I want to do one of these quilts that I didn't piece. I did not piece these, but I am long yarming it, and I am getting it ready. And I think I want to donate it to one of those 3 women. I'm gonna probably do a raffle, contact them, and ask them if they would like the quilt. But that's what I want to do. A lot of these quilts I want to donate to the community that I'm, like y'all, like bless y'all. Some of you probably don't even have the ability to have a quilt maybe. And I think a quilt is such a treasure to get. All right, so we're going to move her. And we're going to iron in a minute. And then I could see your comments while I'm working. Come on. We got her going. We already found placement. I already flattened her quite a bit. I think I need to iron like this area a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. This kind of area. I need to make sure the diamonds are nice and flat because I don't want to see pleats. And then, let me just get my iron real quick. And then you guys could literally watch me getting this going. I think, oh, she's out of bobbin. I'm using, let me see. Now that we're here, I'm using Omni thread. And it looks like this. It's a spool. Let me show you a hot pink waving. Okay, so let me show you. If you want to know, if you're a long armor, what kind of thread to get that's not extremely expensive and that you will go through, and that I really do go through, like, so this is original size and this is what I have left over, but I'm using a purple. It's Omni thread, yeah, Omni, and this is beautiful and thick these spools are. I love these. If you want to know, they have these in like they're pastel colors. The reason these are great is because you could use them to like if the quilt has a lot of white background like this one does, it adds a slight tint of a color to the quilt but doesn't overpower the quilt, which I think is the best kind of thread. They do have darks, so, but Omni, these are beautiful threads. I had to kind of like decrease using my superior thread, my favorite thread, to King Tut thread, because it's so flippin' expensive now. So let me move you here so you can see the quilt. But so they have a variety of beautiful different colors, and oh, I was gonna put a new bobbin. My recommendation is that thread. Come on, little machine. It adds a beautiful soft hue. I'll move you here to the quilt. It's a beautiful and I'll show you in a minute. If I could get, I think I need to pull out my other camera, but my other camera, the color is not accurate through camera from camera. And so let me see if I could, let's see here. There you go. I got it here. And I'm going to restart it. You with me? Let me bring you. Can I bring you? Let me bring you. Come with me. Let me not trip while I bring you, but I will bring you. Let me not get caught with the other camera, because it could be a beehive here. So, automatic. I wonder if I could, or if you could see. No. No. Let me bring you down. Maybe I could bring you down a little bit. Okay. So this is where it says, and I need to pick a new space because that's not where I'm starting. I go back probably 3 inches. I don't know if you can see the thread stops here. I'm going back 3 inches. No, that's not what I wanted. No. Let's see. Pick a new spot. And then I'm going to pick a new spot here. Use this spot. Now that it's aligned itself to that spot, now I could quilt on that spot. There it is. So I'm going over. Hopefully you can see. Wait, maybe not. It'll move in a minute. I'm going over about 2 to 3 inches. As a matter of fact, now that I'm going to put you here on this camera, you can see it a little bit darker. The reason I do that, and I don't have to do that, I could literally just start like maybe a ½ inch, is because I want to make sure that when the bobbin loses its thread, there's areas that maybe it looks like it's sewn underneath or on the top, but it's not sewn underneath. And this way I know that I caught all the threads up to like, what, 2 inches? And I know I'm not going to have to go back. Please be right in line. I know that I'm not going to have to go back. Okay, so look. That's beautiful, Lorena. Let me see. Hello, my son Arturo. You want to see your puppy on YouTube? You little rascal. You want to see your puppy? Let's see. You want me, baby? Come here, mama. Come here, you little turd. Look at her. Look at her. She's so pretty, right? She's my son's puppy. Let me steal her. She's enjoying herself in this new grandma daycare. Yes? And then, come on, Mama Blue. Stop being mean to Blue. This is Lady Blue. We've seen her before. Nope. Nope, ma'am. She's like, you get to kiss me. Hey, no fighting in here. Stop it. No. So let me move you here so you can see the quilt. Nope. There you go. Moving everything away from the long arm. I do need to iron her, so let me move you over here. Excuse me. Pardon me. I'm going to move you here so you can see that. I'm going to go ahead and iron the points because, you know, who knows? I'm going to iron these nice and flat. And Steam Man is your bestie, is your best friend. I want this quilt to have the best success. Sometimes I also, it's called hover, where you steam and hover over. And then if you've wet the quilt, no playing in here. No, ma'am. No. I don't want them to trip my cameras, but hey, you do not fight while I'm working. Go away. Stop it. Hold on one second. Let me clamp. I'm going to clamp this cord down. No. I'm yelling at dogs. I really am sorry. The reason I'm yelling at dogs is I have these cords out here, and if one of them jumps the cord, then my camera systems I'll be on a live, and y'all will only see a pure black screen. Can you imagine? Hold on, let me see. And that's not going to be, I don't want to deal with that. Okay. Let me show you. Do I have the spool? So, I was talking about, no, it doesn't say anything on this. Let's see here. I'll let you watch the machine for a little bit while I read your... Oh my God, from Tennessee. I'm glad you're here, Jennifer. You make me so happy that you're excited to be here. It really is a blessing. Yes, the quilt is beautiful, right, Becky? This is Becky's comment. Yeah, the dogs are adorable. They're a lot, though. Let me just say they're a lot. Hello. Hello to everybody who's here. I'm glad. The Army nurse is here. Army nurse. Army nurse. Thank you for being here. I know. Let me see. My son is here, or he was here. He probably went back to work. Denise O'Brien is here. Thank you for being here. So glad you took time out of your life to hang out with me. What a blessing. Let me go see if I could check something out real quick. And then maybe I could see this quilt in this angle. And I have someone's comment still on, so let me take you off. Thank you for spending time with me. I really do appreciate it. Look at, she's beautiful. She's here. Gina. Kevin is here. I love this. Isn't it a blessing? I can literally post y'all stuff. You caught my live. So let's see. Jenna says it's a beautiful quilt. Let me see who else is here. Hello from Seguin. You're from, wait. You live by me, kind of. You live not far from me. I was just in Seguin. Where was I in Seguin? I was with, wait a minute. Is that Charlotte? No, wait. Yeah, I think that's Charlotte. That's you, Charlotte. Maybe that's Charlotte. I love you, Charlotte, if it's you. The Army nurse. I'm so happy you guys are inspired to get a long arm. It is such a blessing. Really, I'm excited for you. I really am happy for you. Okay, you're Miles from Seguin. I thought you were... Nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for serving our country. What a blessing. All right, let's see. I think I need to... What was I going to do? Oh, I need to roll up the pickup bar. Let me go real here. I'm trying to get my computer to work here, but I don't know what it is. When I do live streams, my computer does not want to hit it. Yeah, hold on. So tell me what you guys are working on. I would love to know. I want to know what you're doing today. Live. For some reason, it's not showing the live here. And what I wanted to do is I want to see the live in itself. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Edit video. All right. Ooh, I can see all your comments. Okay, stop. My dog is being a little douche. On. Done. Save. Hopefully you did it. Okay, so I could literally watch y'all watching me. That's stupid. Okay, wait. Hold on, let me see if I can find me. And then I could watch your comments and I could see how many people are here. Hopefully you did it. Okay, so I can literally watch y'all watching me. Okay, wait. And I can. Let me see if I can find me. It's me, Charlotte. Hold on. Thank you, Charlotte, for being here. I love you. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Now I can see your comments on my computer, which is a blessing. I can see your comments and see you guys, and then I can see how YouTube sees the video. If the color's good, if you could hear, hold on a second. If you guys could hear me well, like that's what I was doing right now. And it looks like you guys could hear me well. Praise the Lord. You're working on what? Okay, here we go. You're working on the Eagle Lone Star. Let me see if I can look that up. I am looking at, okay, I'm going to look it up, okay? So we could have interaction here. I'm looking it up, okay? So this is what you're working on. Question, is it this one? Kinda? Tell me yes or no. If you're working on that, is that it? The Eagle Lone Star quilt? No, maybe not. Maybe. Anyway, let me see. I'm trying to do a Monopoly thread on... Ooh, this is what she's working on. Isn't that beautiful? I'm not into haunted stuff. I'm not into Halloween stuff, but some people love it, right? Let's see. My lady Charlotte is here. Let's see. Let me turn that off. I'm working on currently, I went and hung out with one of my friends, and I'm working on, you know, Tula Pink. I've done some videos on it. I am doing 2 versions of Tula Pink, or I'm doing 2 sets of that quilt because they gave me so much fabric. So currently I'm working on Tula Pink. I'm on month 6, or I got month 6 ready, and I'm working on finishing month 5. So I'm doing Tula Pink. You're working on a quilt from the San Antonio Quilt Show? Kevin, you're from San Antonio? Okay, this is it. Hold on, I'm sorry if you see me sweating. This one. But I'm sure different, right? You're doing it your way. This. Yes, can you see it? And what else am I working on? A friend gave me, so I'm hand binding one of these quilts, and then I'm doing that challenge. I'm still doing that challenge, so keep in mind that I'm still trying to get my own quilts done. And I finished, okay, so I'm going to tell you what happened in April. Hi, how are you? No. Okay. I'm trying to make sure. So now you can see it. Now you cannot see me. And now you can see where the long arm is at. One of the things that's really hard is finding placement on the rows on the top. And so anyway, I am working on, I just need to finish that Jesus banner. And then I'm trying to work on the Tula Pink quilt. I need to do Tula Pink. Working on the Tula Pink, what else am I working on? I'm working on finishing the binding on one of these quilts that I'm going to donate to somebody. And then, oh, let me show you this. Hold on. Well, I'm going to move you here so you could just kind of watch the long arm from it, but because I'm going to leave the space. Trying to find the fabric. Oh, I wanted to show you the fabric. Some of the other fabric that I bought from Marshall's Dry Goods. I don't work for them. I don't get sponsored by them. I don't get nothing from them, okay? I'm just giving you like some of the suggestions of the material that I'm using. So I wanted to share with you this. This is also from Marshall's Dry Goods. And this is so, excuse me, buttery, silky. It feels like a little bit of like Tula Pink fabric. It has a really good, it doesn't feel that cheap, okay? It has a little bit of a nicer weight. Now this one, it's still really great fabric. I love this fabric. It just, you could kind of see through the wovenness a little bit. And you can see that this is a woven, a little bit more woven, a little bit stiffer, but I love this color. So this was from Marshall's Dry Goods. Just sharing. And I'm just sharing also too, I do not get paid a penny, a dime. Everything that I purchased with my own PayPal account, my own money. This is one of the quilts. I long armed this one. Let me move you. I long armed one of these. Let me show you this quilt. Thank God I bought two. If you want to go back to that lady's channel, her name is Young 2008. That's her Etsy channel. She also has an eBay account which has a whole different type of quilts out there. Oh. She has this quilt on Etsy for $42. Hey, sugar, no. $42. I don't think you could beat that. She's beautiful. I went recently on there because I gave one of these away and I wanted to keep one. And then I was so happy when I found out that I had bought two of these. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited about two. So I'm keeping one. I even think I bought two more because it's such a masculine, beautiful quilt that I just have to, like this would be a quilt, like you would, because it's like a compass quilt. It's a quilt that you could give to a man. And like this quilt, it's a quilt that you would give, to me, it would be a quilt you would give to a female. Am I wrong? But I love this quilt. Or a couple, but more female. More single female. Let me get my dogs out. Hey, sugar, really? Come on, go. So this one is close to the end. Okay, I'm jealous. How did it come out? Is it beautiful? Did you use a black background or white background? I've seen people use a blue background. They all come out magnificent. They all come out. Kevin lives in, well, I'm not going to say where. He lives close to me. Let's just see. I hand quilting. Oh. Charlotte's hand binding a quilt that I quilted for her. She's beautiful. I love her. That's what she's working on. So you can see okay, I'm going to ask you, you said that is that eagle quilt. Is this a hard quilt to do? Question. I'm going to move you here while I roll the quilt, and y'all can watch me like this. And I'm going to try to not pull the cord or get caught in it like I get caught in everything. Ay, Dios mío. Okay, I see. So it's not caught. And then I'm going to, once I find row 2, that's easy to find placement. You're gonna be okay. All right. So you see me roll. Hold on, I'm gonna roll in a minute. Stop. Go on. I wanted to know, and I know it's not quilting. I wanted to know if you would like me to do a live stream on, well, I don't know if I could do a live stream on embroidery, but on maybe embroidery or on the laser. I am going to be adding content on my embroidery. I have a friend who has a little featherweight, and I want to make her a featherweight cover. Maybe. Would that be hard? And I want to embroider it. Let's see. When I did content, I ended up making a lot of content of a lot of different things. And then everybody fell in love with the work days. Everybody fell in love with this stuff, the quilting, the long arm stuff, which is great. I love this. I love long arming. I think it's a gift that God gave me. But sometimes I just get tired of editing the same videos of me working. and I kind of want to just add something different. I'm still going to do these videos and do live streaming. You guys tend to do like the live streams. And then if you have a long arm and you have questions, this is the time to talk to me and ask me. And this is the time where I can answer you one-on-one. But a lot of people like this content. And this year I kind of want to change it up. So I've added, if you haven't seen it, I added how to embroider the hat on the back where it's curved. I did a video on that, and I also added in that video how to remove the embroidery stitches and how I used, it's like a little, it looks like a facial razor, but it's called the Peanut, which with the embroidery businesses, they call it the Peggy Sue Stitch Eraser. But I found a different, same exact razor, a $20-$30 difference at Sally's that works exactly the same. And so I have a video of that, and I also did a video on my tufting. So if you're not getting notifications, it's because YouTube will see what you like, the content that you love watching from me. And if I don't do that kind of content, it won't notify you. So I am doing other videos. If you don't see them, it's because they're a bit different. So if you want to go and support me there, and go watch those videos. I did a tufting video where I did a block swap. When we did the block swap on my Facebook group, I did a tufting rug that looks like the block swap, one of the block swaps. Then I'm going to do another video, another tufting rug of the different block swap we did with the flower one, the flower looking one. But we're going to be doing that. And so I'm trying to add different and interesting content, because I'm just why I just think like we're not one-minded. Like, well, I have a lot of toys. I have a lot of toys, and I have a lot of toys, and I think it would be neat to showcase them. Maybe you can't afford a big giant long arm, but you could afford an embroidery machine, and that's a way of getting. That's originally how I started my business. Maybe you don't want to do really embroidery or but you do love watching piecing. I don't even post piecing videos anymore, because half diamond piece or oh, okay, I get it. My question, well, I'll ask you a question in a minute. So I'm doing, like, I want to do, she's doing the queen of diamonds. I did a couple of videos on like tricks and tips that I figured out in doing the, what is it, English paper piecing, that's what it's called. And I love those videos. I love a lot of stuff. I love a lot of stuff on top of this. But I think when you're a creative person, a lady, she asked me to embroider a label for her quilt, but she wanted to put it on. I was going to quilt her quilt. She came to my house, and I quilted right when she was there. And she asked me, like, well, we could put the embroidery label afterwards. And I said, no, you have to put the label, like, if you're going to embroider on a quilt, like here, you need to put it on beforehand. Okay, come on. And so we went downstairs, and she kind of saw like a little different version of my life, a little different area of how I work. So I'm gonna wet the carpet, okay? Wet the carpet. Wet the quilt. I'm going to drench the quilt with, I water it down with, this is an old bottle. Originally it was a full Best Press. That's what I use for starch. I don't, and then this is watered down. So this is half Best Press, half water. And the reason is one, I've used the whole bottle, and Best Press is kind of expensive, but this does the same thing even if you use half of it as water. So I'm gonna drench it, and it doesn't matter how much you drench it. You just kind of want to sprinkle on there. And the reason you want to sprinkle it is you do not want your, well, you don't want your long arm to be going over wet fabric. You don't want to rust your, I don't think you can rust a needle, can you? I don't think you can. So hold on, let me get the, stop. And then let me see. Okay, I'm going to tack it down. I used to baste tack down. Look, she's a pretty good quilt, isn't she? One of the better ones. Sometimes when I get quilts that give me a hard life, give me a hard time, I kind of, hesitate to quilt them. The reason I hesitate to quilt them is because, God, sometimes it sucks having problems with quilts. If you have like problems with the border, like this one has where the diamond area, it's let me see, unsew. I think that's good. Okay, so if you see the diamond area, let me see if I could bring you in. Let me bring you in. If you see the diamond area, you can see that there's a lot of puddling. So that's why you see me wetting her right now. You see there's a lot of puckering a little bit on the quilt. You see the fabric is not completely flat. And I don't think, well, these quilts, because there's so much bias, like this is a triangle, and then these are diamonds, they're full of bias. They're hard to just have flat. They're hard. Hold on, let me see. Let me see. So then, oh, wait a minute. Let me pull her down. While I'm here, I'm also finding placement. Down. Stop. No. This goes here. This goes here. This will work. This will work. Now I need to iron her because you see all that extra fabric? Pull. All right, let's see. What I'm going to do, what I tend to do, I tend to spray this area first because this is where the quilt starts. And then I also tend to iron this area first because I want to dry it out as much as I can. While I was spraying it, I went ahead and I turned on my iron, you see, so that I could get this hot enough. So, see how flat it looks now? And you don't see any really wet areas anymore like you were seeing before. But you see that it's dry enough so that if I wanted to start the long arming right now, but I'm going to do half of it. I'm going to start ironing half of it. See those little diamonds? If you don't iron right here, you're going to have like pleats and puckers like right here. I don't know if you can see right here. Let me see. Right there. There you go. Like, do you see how it's pleating and puckering? Do you see how this is pleating and puckering? All right, my dogs, I'm going to let them in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start the long arm while I'm reheating the iron. Reheating the iron. And I lovingly use a whole bunch of, steam. Come on, stop barking at everybody, please. Okay. Like you can see for real that I deal with my dogs constantly. Don't want that thread to pull. So while I already ironed all of this, and she's beautifully flat, most of it. You can see this is generally flat. Then I'm going to go back because I already ironed half of it, and then my bobbin's going to go out. So I restarted my iron. I'm going to put water in her. Come on, don't fall. Water. Hello, sir. I'm thirsty for water. So I just added water to my iron, so I could have steam. How's that? Now I can speak. I do not have a language barrier. I don't know. I think I'm funny, but I'm not probably. Okay. So you can see. Hold on. I'm going to turn her around. Wait. Is she? Okay. You see the long arm working, and you can also see how much flatter she is. But whew, that was. This is a pleat. I don't know if you see it. You can see a pleat. Let me bring you in. Let me showcase my pleat. If this was my client, I would unstitch this section, iron it flat, and go back and quilt it. This is mine, and I'm not going to do that. Because once I wash it, this fiddling is going to disappear because the batting is going to take in, it's going to get full, and you're not going to see that. But for my clients, I want the quilt to be as flat as possible. Also, too, if I can, now that I have my iron, sometimes it's just one thread that got caught, like one little piece here. I'll get that quilt, that fabric, and steam it down if I could. And sometimes you can flatten this out and that pleat disappears. But as you're looking, that's not what you see this. And that means when your client comes and picks up her quilt, she's going to see that, which is not a big deal. I mean, but I don't want my client to see that. So what I would do is I would unstitch it and clean it, iron it again, and flatten it down. But because it's mine, I would leave it alone. Now, some people don't care that much, and they will let the pleat stay and then tell the client, well, it's not my fault, it's you who didn't make the quilt well. And yes, it could be that. I'll move you a little bit. It could be that, but a lot of it is, oh, hold on, shoot, sorry. Some of it is the fact that the long armor did not iron the fabric flat enough. And ironing can fix it, and sometimes ironing can't. But you have a better chance to iron. You have better success on having your quilt nice and straight. And one of the things I've learned is when you starch it, like you saw me starch, another thing is when you're moving the iron, move it towards the direction. Do you see how much flatter that is? Move the iron towards the direction it was pieced. And you saw me flattening it, but also too, you could just press it. Like you see that pleat right there? Let me see if you can see. And I'm moving it towards the direction of how it was pieced. And now you don't see it as, let me iron right there. All right, let's see. Let me get more, and you're going to see me working on this side. And if it doesn't flatten, which you can see on this quilt, it's not flat enough, what you can do, you can see here, I'm trying to just help everybody. I don't know if it's helpful. Good afternoon, Christy. Hi, how are you, beautiful? From Washington. So happy. And I'm so happy to see you, Christy. I texted you the other day, messaged you, I owe you money. Okay, wait. So here, if the quilt cannot be flattened, let me share. Like this area is not flat. Ooh, I lost my thread. Hold on, I was just going to show y'all, but that didn't work, did it? If the quilt cannot be flattened, like you see this right here, you can move the fabric from one side to the next side as the design is working. If you cannot iron it enough, meaning where you ironed it and it didn't straighten out, it didn't flattened completely. Hold on, I'm changing the bobbin. So I'm going to show you what I mean. No one on YouTube shares this stuff ever. People, anyway, some people say that, anyway, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just being kind. Some people say that I'm just like overemphasizing some things, but I feel like the person who's making those comments is not being honest about, well, one, they don't work for clients like I do. Two, they don't deal with clients' quilts like I have to. Three, they don't have this as a business where they're working and doing 15 quilts a week. Okay? So the hand of the maker is different. From one person to the next. Let me move you here so you can watch what I'm doing. The hand of the maker is different. I remember one time someone said that it was rude that I was sharing clients' quilts that were not made well. And it's not that I'm sharing clients' quilts that are not made well. I'm just sharing like what I deal with. And not that it's not made well, it's just some people are beginners. For example, I'm going to move, some people are beginners, and sometimes, see how it's not flat? You could scratch and move the fabric to move it from it pleating. I believe that when I was a beginner piecer, I remember the long armor, my mitered corners looked like dog ears flapping from edge to edge. And I didn't know better. I was new, I was doing it, and I was trying. And so I don't expect everybody to do a perfect quilt. And even if you make a perfect quilt, no quilt will ever be perfect. And the reason no quilt will ever be perfect is because every quilt can be, like this quilt was probably perfectly pieced, and this square was probably perfectly in place. But when you're stretching it to sew it to this piece, you may have warped it unknowingly. You may have shifted it, and it may not be the maker's hand. It could be the fact that this darn quilt has tons of bias. Tons of like, all these are biased. This is a bias. This creates a bias. And then also too, every time piecers or makers make a quilt top, if you're at a retreat or you're sewing with your friends, the tendency is to get the block and then show it. Like, look what I did. Look how beautiful. Look, I got this done. And then when they're having their hand on it and they're pulling from edge to edge, even if they pieced it perfectly, they just unknowingly warped it. And that's the truth about, you know, the long armor has to deal with that. I was going to do a video like what things you could do to make your quilts like ready for a long armor. One, iron the heck out of it. Two, don't pull your, like I made this block and then you stretch it. Don't do that. Just leave it. Don't stretch it in any way. When you finish the quilt top, do not have one person holding one edge and have the other person holding the other edge. Don't do that either. You just stretch the quilt. I have a video where I had one quilt. I measured it out. It was literally square to square. And then I got me and my son and we pulled it to show it, right? To take a picture of it. I literally stretched it a ½ inch unknowingly. And I measured it and I was sharing that. And, but some content creators say I'm being mean. I don't think I'm being mean. I'm being honest. That no quilt is perfect, no matter how perfect you pieced it, ever. Because the moment you put it away, or the moment you unfold it and pull the fabric, you just unknowingly warped it. Like this quilt, I think she probably did a really great job, But then when she was pulling it, you know, sewing it together, you're pulling the fabric, fudging it in place, feed dogging it, making sure it fits on the feed, like let the feed dogs take the fabric in. All of that is working the fabric and stretching the fabric. And then also too, you could have fabrics that just stretch and it's not even you. You could have cut everything beautifully. You could have measured everything beautifully, but when you were putting it together, the fabric itself, like I think on this fabric, she has satins. Let me bring you down. So maybe you can't see it. Let me show you. Here, let me show you. This fabric is a satin. These are what? Darn it. Let me see. These darker purples, or no, this is a plum. This is like it has a mix of, what is this color? Magenta? No, magenta's, anyway, this color, this fabric has no stretch. This fabric, this white fabric, is full of stretch. This satin fabric has no stretch. This upholstery looking fabric or corduroy fabric has no stretch. But this white fabric and this yellow has stretch. So you're able to like fiddle, fudge, push, work through. And I bet she did this with paper piecing. Maybe these are the paper piece quilt. Maybe it's a paper piece quilt. Is it? And then you take off the paper and you just stretched it. No, yes, you're right. They want to sell a class. And you don't have to have a class. You don't have. I went to, there's this laser company. Anyway, the company I got my laser from. I was telling the them that they should have certain things ready for the people who buy the laser. And then one of the ladies was saying, well, there's classes you could buy to have those settings. And I was like, no, I just spent like $10,000 on a laser. You should give me the settings, or at least a general idea of what settings may work. And their reasoning is every laser tube is different, so the setting numbers would be different. And I said, yeah, but you could give me a general idea, right? A general idea. But no, they do want to sell classes, and you don't need to have classes to learn. So here, I'm making sure this fabric is nice, and you don't, I don't think, when I first started, no one shared what I was dealing with, so I thought something was wrong with me. Like, I felt like I'm doing something wrong here, that these quilts are puddling, they're shifting, they're warped, there's something, you know, maybe I don't have my long arm right, maybe my leaders are warped, maybe, like, I was thinking it was always something I was doing, and the truth is, it was just the quilt top. And there's some people that were saying, I had a video about warped borders that are warped, and I showcased the quilt where the borders were warped. I also showcased how to fix that border. I had a content creator saying that's not a thing, like that's not a real thing. Well, this content creator doesn't work for the community. This content creator sells rulers. This content creator does videos, but of his quilting, of his piecing, and of his work. And so, of course, you know, when it's your stuff, you could be more accurate, you could be more finicky, you could be more on top of it. And he also, he's not sharing the truth, because I'm sharing the truth. If you're a long armor, you're going to have these problems. And the more you do it, the better you get at fixing them. And nothing's wrong with the quilt. Nothing's wrong with the quilt's not bad. The person that made it is not incompetent. It's just, one, she's a beginner maybe. Two, you're getting piecers that are elderly, senior ladies, and they're just trying to do something to bless their family with a quilt. It's not even that deep. They don't want to be award winners. They're just making quilts for their sons and daughters, and they want to leave something behind if they leave, this earth and go and become angels. And so they want to leave things behind for their family. Hold on, let me see. My little dogs are hot. Come on in. You little turkeys. It's hot out there, huh? You guys want water? Well, let me give it water for my dogs. So, and someone was saying, well, you're criticizing your clients. No, I'm not. The quilt not being the way perfect does not mean that that human being is not a good person or that human being is not perfect. It just means that the quilt stretched. You're hot, huh, Mama? You're hot too. Let me get you some water. You blessed I have water up here, girls. I also think like we as a society need to be willing to be corrected or teachable or be willing to learn when things, come on, when, come on, Blue, come on, Blue, hold on, come on, Blue. Here, let Blue have some. Y'all are just like bossy people. Hold on, I'm giving water to my babies. Here's your baby. You do not be mean about water. All right, let's see. This is where we are. This is how the quilt looks. Oh, no. See what that camera does? See how that camera plays me? I'm glad I'm being helpful. I want to be honest. I want to share, like, anybody could do this. Anybody could, like, have a long arm. It's not, they're expensive, but man, I think, like, I had to increase my faith to have one, and then to pay it off. It was a lot of work to get to that point. But, like, anybody could do this. This is not that deep. And if you want to, why? That little turkey? Okay. Alright, I'm sorry I'm cleaning up a mess. Hold on. Let me see. And it doesn't have to be long arming. You literally do other stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could do. And I think that's why I want to showcase, like, embroidery. If you want to make money on embroidery, you can make a lot of good income on embroidery. If you want to do laser and turning it into business, you can make a great business on lasering. As a matter of fact, Gilman Honda, I need to do a keychain for him. Sorry. Someone asked me to do, I think I want to start really working the laser and turning that into a little business also. And I had a man offer me, like, I'm going to do a whole bunch of keychains for him so that when someone buys a car, he could give them a specialized keychain. And honestly, I think it'd be cool, like, this business where I could do a keychain and then I engrave the person's name on the keychain. Such a custom, personal kind of thing. Anyway, I'm thinking about different things, but right now, I'm enjoying this. Let me see. Hold on, let me work. Let me work. I'm distracted by y'all. No, I did a TikTok live stream, and it was such a blessing because I had a lot of work to finish. And doing that TikTok got me to finish like 3 quilts, because some people live stream for hours. They're live streaming for hours. Let me show you the pattern now that we're here. Right? What? This is such a right. Yes, ironing is such a blessing. I've gone to several quilt shops where they won't iron the quilt, and then their quilts that they quilted for clients are full of pleats everywhere, and it looks like the worst quilting job ever. And I just decided not to say anything because, you know, what do I know? What do I know? I don't work for that company, so. But I remember telling one long armer that worked for that company, and that company doesn't exist anymore, is why don't you use steam and an iron and just flatten out that block? She goes, I didn't know I could do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. And you won't ruin the quilt. They'll be fine. Like, hold on. Let me get right. Keep going. Let me keep going. Like I said, on this quilt, there's a couple little pleats. Like there's one here. Up. And there's a little piece here. And there's another pleat. But because I ironed it so flat, so good, there's like the fullness went in here. Oh, wait. Let me get this. This is my measuring area. Hold on. Dun, dun. We're on the last row, guys. Last row. Can you imagine? You guys have done this with me. Now I have another quilt. I'm going to do another quilt, and that one, if you guys do the live with me, maybe I will pick all the names that were on the live. Just say maybe. And y'all could win a quilt from me that I long-armed and I got done while you guys were with me. Yeah, but we're on the last row. Look at her. And I went and got, I think I ordered 6 quilts from this lady again. The ones that she has. And on that live stream, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll announce that. Please join the live. Please subscribe. Please be part of my life. I will give you a quilt. Anyway, on these quilts that I just purchased, oh my God, they're so delicious. They're just so delicious. I went on her site and I'm like, I'm not gonna buy nothing. I already have enough. I already done enough. It's been enough. You've taken it too far, Lorena. Let me see. And maybe I'll do it next week. If I get those quilts in, maybe I'll do it this Saturday. And that quilt, I will donate to y'all, everybody who's on the live stream. And I will probably announce that live stream. It's called Premiere. Let's see. Let me move you here. Let me move you here so you can see this. Can you see the pattern? No, let me see. Can you even see the pattern? I don't want to. It has, I think these are tulips, and it's a heart. Tulips and hearts and filigree. I love this pattern. It's called Heartbreak. Okay, now I have it. Do you see it now? Maybe? Better? A little bit better? But I know. Okay. Let me see. Move you so you can watch me sew this down. All right, let's see. My stitches. Choo-choo. You're like a little bit of a little troublemaker, little girl. All right, let's see. Maybe I'll show what I'll do. Come on, little girl. So we're on the last row. Can you imagine? Y'all have been with me quilting this whole time. On this last row, please ask me questions. I'm here for you. Ask me anything. Are you... There's a friend of mine who wants to give me, maybe, who knows, would you guys like me to do this on custom quilting? Because custom quilting is a whole different game. Let's see. Da-na-na-na. Oh, come on. Let's see. Let me move you here. Or let me move you out of my way so I'm not... It's okay. Okay, right now what I'm doing is I'm finding placement again. I do it and then I check it once I have it just randomly, because sometimes the design or the quilt shifts a little bit. And then I'll move her down. Here, I'm going to move you so you can see me. I'm sorry. I'm probably talking and you're like, what is she doing? Like, she's talking to us, but she's not showing us what she's doing. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to move you here so you can see. What I'm doing right now is I'm finding placement on the bottom row. I'm rechecking it, making sure that the design in the quilt sit. Now, if you notice, this is kind of neat. This bottom row, you know, the middle rows were like very full, shifty, and you see this bottom row, it's flatter than, it's flat like a pancake. So sometimes, like, as you're quilting, the first row, the second row look beautiful, and then all of a sudden the third row looks like someone annihilated it. And it could be also too that whoever was piecing it was probably tired when they pieced those rows. Lord, I'm gonna bring this down. Ugh. Sorry, let me move out of your way. That's annoying, right? She's being annoying. Her whole body's in the way. I'm gonna just bring it down here. And then bring it in. And the reason this has shifted slightly, a lot. No. Ah, come on. Let's see. I think that's good. She's working. Okay, let's try. We're on the last row. And then, let me see. Let me move you so you can see me start. Come on. Pull that bobbin. Then I need to roll up the pickup bar. Get rid of all the roll up the pickup bar. Then I should iron. Let me iron. Let me get the iron. But I really don't need to. Look how beautiful and flat she is. But I'm going to just iron just in case. Like here. Look how beautiful that back fabric. Is that lint? And then Just isn't going high enough. That's beautiful. All right, let's see your comments. And then this is the last row. So then I'm going to let you guys go and have dinner. 5:30. Finish the quilt. Finish the quilt. How many hours were we've been here? It says we've been here an hour and 20 minutes. Let's see. Explain where to place the seam on the back of a quilt. It doesn't matter. You can... Okay, I have a client who puts a seam right in the center. Let me showcase the quilt here. She puts the seam right in the center. So you can see the quilt. She tends to place the seam right in the center, and then she wants the back of the seam. She wants the back of the seam to be centered to the top of the quilt. Okay, that's preference, and that's what she likes, okay, and that's just her style. I don't think you should put a seam in the center of a quilt because generally, let me show you an example. Let me get a quilt. Hold on. Generally, when people fold a quilt, they tend, and these are non-knowing quilters. Sorry if it moved on you. Sorry if it shifted on you. Okay. Let me see. These are non-quilters. They have a tendency to get the quilt. So this is a quilt I finished for a client. Okay. Let's see how beautiful she is. They tend to get the quilt from edge to edge and fold center. So quilts have a tendency to have, especially if they're older antique quilts, they have a tendency to have a worn seam on the outer edge, and they also have a tendency to have like they have memory. The fabric creates a fold memory. So and then because you're folding it center, you're also going to have a thickness where the seam is right here. So it's also going to cause wear on the top of the quilt because that thickness is going to be rubbing on the top and kind of like annoyingly push. I'm just showing you. Push on the top because there's a seam there. Okay. So I don't recommend that, but it's preference. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Quilts are not intended to be quilts for 100 years. Especially now, there's an issue with the kind of thread people use. Polyester thread cuts the fabric of a quilt, and it also starts to like it knives a quilt with movement if you use a polyester thread. But they won't see that till years later. Okay. So I don't recommend a center seam. But if you do have a center seam and you teach the person to do a bifold, it's like a half fold where you fold it and then you fold it, right? You fold it by 3. So you fold one edge in and then you fold the other edge, right? And you're not folding it in the center. And then they also fold it that way when they're folding the quilt like this. Doesn't matter if you have it in the center because there's no pressure on the back seam that's on the center to the center of the quilt. So a lot of people put like this one, I believe. Where is it? Where's the seam? Where are you, seam? I think, wait, I'm looking at the quilt, okay? Is this a center seam? I'm looking, okay, so here's her seam. She put her seam on the horizontal. On the horizontal of the quilt. Does that make sense? It's right here. Yeah, my finger's on it. It's right here. So I recommend, my recommendation is that your seam should always be shifted over some way, or shifted like not horizontal to the center of the, because if you fold it center, you're also going to perfectly fold it in the middle, and then you're going to have the same thing. I feel like it's okay to have the seam off to a side, or have the seam off to the bottom, because then when you're folding the quilt, the seam doesn't cause wear to the front of the quilt. Now, you're not going to notice these dumb things that I'm saying until years after you've had the quilt and you start seeing that that seam is starting to wear on the fold at the top. And that's why I don't recommend it having the seam vertical and then you put your quilt flat center to the quilt top. That's what I feel. But like this one, where's the seam? Where's your seam? Where's your seam? Here's the seam, right? And here's the quilt, so you can see how big it is. Ah, come on. Don't. And then this is how short it is. So it's not directly in the center of the horizontal. But it doesn't matter if you do it on the vertical. It doesn't matter if you quilt it, if you put it on the horizontal. It doesn't matter where you put your back seam. But I do recommend not having your back seam completely centered to the quilt top. Like, you know, it's a vertical and then you center the quilt top to the center. And so because when you're folding that quilt, every time you're putting wear on the center, and you're also putting wear on the seam, ultimately. But as a long armor, you just do what your client wants. Like this one, she had a whole bunch of back fabric. I laid it off to so from here to here is the quilt. From here to here is the quilt. But here to here is the quilt. And it's not centered. And so anytime she folds it, anybody else folds it, now you're going to fold it right center and then fold it center the other way, horizontal. It's not going to put that wear and tear, and you don't have that bulkiness. This quilt, like the seam is here, and you don't even notice it on the quilting. I don't think you notice it. So I don't think it's that, even though you see it here. One thing I do not recommend is do not have, stupid man, open seams on your back fabric. Do not ever, well, I'm not going to say ever, I'm not going to be a rule maker. I don't think you should have open seams when you're creating your back fabric. I understand you're trying to thin it out. You don't want it to have like a thickness in that area. Like here's the seam, and you don't want to have a thickness in this area, so you don't want to have a thickness in this area, so you want to open the seam. I do not recommend that, because when you have the seam folded over to the side, when the quilt goes over this area, it locks it down, and there's never a chance that the seam will open on you, because when you folded it over, the long arm quilting will lock it down, and it will never, you may not have an open seam ever on this quilt because you just locked it down when you folded it over. Even if maybe the stitching is loose because you folded it over, it locks it. When you have an open seam, the needle, that seam has pressure, tugged back and forth pressure, pull, tug this way, when someone's maneuvering this quilt, like I'm moving this quilt, I'm tugging it, and then when someone's using it, they're tugging it this way. And if it has an open seam, there is a potential, unless you do like the tiniest little stitches, when you do that open seam, there's a potential that you'll pop those seams open, and then now that it's quilted, you'll have little open holes. And I've noticed as a long arm quilter, sometimes when the back fabric has an open seam, it's crazy how that needle finds that open seam and literally punctures down that open seam and pops. Like it hits the thread, and it hits right center sometimes, and it pops the seam on the back fabric. And I don't do open seams when I'm making quilt tops, because with that open seam, when the quilt is going over the needle is going over the quilt. I need to turn it on. That open seam, man, somehow that long arm and that thread or that long arm finds that open seam and literally pops, that goes through, hits that thread that's open, and will cause, let me move over, mama, will cause the quilt to have, I'm trying to put you so you can see me, okay? We'll have that quilt like, it just, so then now I have a seam that's open and I have to go back and hand stitch it closed, because once that needle hits that open, it pops down, hits that thread, and the fabric just goes beep, like it just like, we just open. And then when you put any pressure, that thread will open more. And so now you have a little baby hole, and then that baby hole turns into a 1 inch or 1/2 inch opening on a quilt, because there's an open, they open their seams. And I know why people do it, especially like this star quilt. I understand why. You're trying to reduce bulk. You're trying to get rid of thicknesses, especially when you're connecting like 3 or 4 or 5, 6 seams, especially when you're doing those stars, which, let's see, you're trying to do those beautiful pointy stars and this beautiful piecing, and you want to make sure, what happened, where did I end and start? Okay, you want to make sure that, that area's, come on, let me see, let me get it to start, that area is nice and flat, but open seams can be a problem. They have been for me. And then also too, the tugging and the pushing of a quilt, you'll end up having like an open seam, and then when you're long arming it, the long arm will get caught under that opening, and then you have a potential for that quilt top to be torn. So you just have to be real careful, like paying attention to the way the piecer made the quilt, like look under, for example. Look, let me see, come on. I know you love me, little camera, but I want you to look down. I'm gonna turn you to look down. Come on, please hold. Come on. Trying to get the camera to look down. Let me bring it up then. You do not want, when you open the seam and you iron the open seam, let me just show you an example. You are putting tension on that thread line. And I know, there's no rules in sewing. So I'm going to show you. When you open this seam, one, I think it takes extra time. That I was like, why? I'm trying to open a seam so I can show you. I'm trying to also. When you open a seam, I can show you here. Lorena and her tangents. We should do a series. When you open a seam, whether you know it or not, I know it's flat, but do you see me? Come on. When the quilt is pulled, do you see those threads? Do I even see those threads? The quilt, when you're pulling it, even when I'm pulling it or when you're tugging it, when you're moving it, that open seam has tension on it. And these little, I don't know if you see the thread. It is so easy for it to pop open. And I understand why, but I think when you're working on a quilt and you have it to the side, you've literally locked it down. And then when the long armer comes and quilts it, it locks everything nice and locks it flattened down, so it's less likely to open on you, those seams. But I don't recommend it on your back fabric, especially because or a long armor, is going to be pulling the living heck out of that back fabric. so that there's no puddling. And they're going to tighten. There's a tension on the long arm vertically, and there's a tension on the long arm horizontally. And you can see me like literally tensioning that back fabric. So I'm pulling that back fabric. Oh, this little dog. I'm pulling that back fabric in such a way that I'm trying to flatten it as much as I can, and I'm also pulling it so I have a table. So it feels like the table. And you can see I have clamps on here, and I'm yanking the heck out of it. And I know the open seams may not open on me or when I'm doing it. Hey, hey, hey. Can you not? Hold on, I'm yelling at my dog. Why are you such a turkey? Why are you such a turkey? No, I don't want you messing with that. No. Another one? I bought these beds. Okay, hold on. But it's, honestly, is an open seam the worst thing that can happen in life? No. Because any open seam can be hand stitched down. But it's something to think about, because I don't know. I do not like open seams. But that's me. Some people love them. Some people love sitting there and opening the seam and ironing and taking that extra step. And I also think, like, when you have an open seam, make sure your stitch quality, stitch length is really short, really small. 2 inches, not 2.5. Anyway, but that's just my kind of, I hope I'm explaining what I'm asking, because she was asking me about the back fabric, the seams. It doesn't matter. But I'm sharing with you some of the things that can be problematic if you put it right, center to the center, your quilt top center to the center. Now, if you tell somebody to fold the quilt this way, but the habit is, hey, wait. Hold on. Let me get my dogs out of here. Hey, get out of here. If you're going to fight, go, No. Get out. You're the troublemaker. You get out. She didn't want to get out. But ultimately, it's preference. It doesn't matter. As a long armor, I found that it doesn't matter. It is more work for the long armor to set the quilt top center to the back fabric. It is more work for the long armor to set, let's say you did a design and you want it like a reversible quilt where the back has its like some quilting or piecing and the top has its own piecing. It takes more time for me as a long armor to align the top to the back and make it sit perfectly. And then one of the things a person doesn't understand about putting the back and aligning it to the top is that quilts shrink by like this quilt, even though it was probably an 89, if I remeasure it when I'm done, I didn't densely quilt it, but it has some, quilting. Your quilt will shrink about 1 inch to 2 inches. So it takes up, it takes in a little bit, especially with the batting that you use and especially with the amount of quilting you do. So sometimes I'll quilt a quilt and let's say it's a 101 quilt. By the time I'm quilting it with it, it's 100, the measurement is 100 or maybe 99 or 99.5. You will lose quilts shrink in based on the amount of quilting and the amount of, the thickness of the batting. What else? So they take in. And those are things that if you're going to put designs on the back, your long armor is going to have to think about. I had a lady, her name, she wanted me to add an already quilted quilt to a border, add a border to an already quilted quilt, and I had to like tell her when I add the quilting, it's going to take in a little bit. So we had to put that to like real time adding anyway, it's the whole thing. But we ended up losing there was a little quilt and we ended up losing about 1/2 inch on the borders to get in line to the quilt top. And And so quilts kind of shrink when they're being long armed a little bit. Well, a lot. Like this quilt probably shrunk maybe an inch and a half, or 1.5 inches on the horizontal or the vertical. Yeah. And if I would have put more densely quilting on this, if I quilted it more densely, she would have taken in more. She would have shrunk more. So those are things like, I don't know if it's helping in any way, but those are things you need to think about when you're asking your long armer to, well, I want it to be perfectly centered to the back that I designed. And sometimes I had a client where the quilt, the top was not perfectly made or wasn't square, and the top was longer at the bottom and shorter at one end and longer at one end. And those are things she didn't think about. So the back, you could see that it was off. You could really see it was off because of how I put the back on, how she wanted me to put the back on there. And it was like, it made me feel bad because like, that's something I couldn't control. And at the time, I measure everything. I measure the top, I measure the bottom, I measure the right, I measure the left. And when you're measuring the quilt, you'll find out, well, come on, open. Come on, open on me. Come on. Please open. Let me pull you back, because this girl's up my face. Here, maybe I'll move you here so you can see the quilting better. So those are things like, I would have never known this stuff if I wasn't a long arm. Or I never would know that maybe sometimes, like when I put the quilt top on or made the quilt top, that the one end was 2 inches longer than the right side. I would have never known that the left side is shorter. Or I did a quilt a while back where I did wavy border video. Hold on. Hey, stop the craze. Hey, no, stop it. Stop fighting with people. I didn't know some people could have a quilt that's shorter in the center and longer on the two sides, so it's like a backwards U. I never thought that was a thing because when they added the borders were longer than the quilt top itself. There's just things like you don't even consider, or I didn't even know. Hold on, let me see if I can move her back now so you can see the whole quilt in all its beauty. But anyway, I'm going to bring you here. I'm going to see if I could get this quilt to open. Can it open? All right, maybe it opened. No, it didn't. They're all up in my skin now. Come on, open. Open, please. Bleep, 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 bleep. It says you're supposed to do hand signals. If I look like an idiot doing it, yeah. The camera instructions told me to do hand signals. Okay, so. And it's sad sometimes people do an open seam quilt. They did all their, and you can see like these little tiny openings. But then they have their favorite content creator or favorite instructor saying, this is the only way you do it, and this is how it gets done. And they just never, they learned that way in the beginning, and they never want to kind of, and look, the only, hold on, let me bring you down. Can you see me? I'm sorry, I should have put you here. Mm-hmm. Trying to get it to work. Please work. I want you guys to see the quilt. So this is a quilt top. Jesus, have mercy on me. Please, Jesus. Okay, let me bring you down so you can see it. Come on, go down. Ooh. Thank you for focusing on me, camera. It's lovely, but I want you to go down. There, look at her. Look at, isn't she lovely? Isn't she lovely? Isn't she beautiful? Look how beautiful this quilt is. Isn't it beautiful? And now you don't see any of the puddling because of the ironing. I think this quilt is lovely. Next week's quilt, I'm probably going to give it to one of y'all. And so let me undo this real quick while this is giving me a miserable time. Maybe, yeah, it's giving me a miserable time. I'm going to set up another quilt. Maybe I want to do my Jesus banner. Y'all want to see my Jesus banner? I'm going to show you. I need to finish it. I had an art piece fall to the ground. And let me undo the leader. And now there's a bare wall in the space. And I'm like, well, I guess it's time for me to finish that banner. So I could put that banner. Do I want to do that right now and put it on here? But it may be. Oh, let's see. Would you all like to see the Jesus banner? She's pretty. She's a beautiful banner. Let me put you here. Would y'all like, wait, sorry. I don't want to see that. Okay, hold on. Shoot. Why, Lorena? Why is my life like this? Just gotta laugh, guys. You know? Things go wrong. Just gotta laugh. When things go right, just gotta laugh. Okay, let me fold it. See, automatically, let me see. Automatically, what am I doing? I'm folding it to center. So that's why I don't recommend it. And automatically, I'm finding center on the horizontal. Hold on, let me see. As I'm folding, see, automatically, I'm finding center on the horizontal and on the vertical. And if you ever give a quilt to somebody, let them know to like fold it differently every time. So it doesn't have a set, so the fabric doesn't have a memory. Because fabric creates memory. Do I have it on the leader? No, I don't. Okay, hold on. Let me go over here. Did I put? Okay, oh, I guess I'm coming what's today? Maybe I could come up here tomorrow and work on this. Like, y'all want to see this quilt? I know I'm having technical difficulty, okay? Please don't judge me. I'm not a camera person. Well, I'm not a perfect content creator. Life is too hard to do that. Let me see. I'm going to put it on the long arm right here. So, oh, wait. I'll show you the back. You need to see the back. The back is delicious. It's delicious. Isn't the back delicious? Look at the back. Ooh. She's beautiful. All right. And if you guys have any more comments, I'm going to be here for 5 minutes. Let me put this so y'all can see me put it on the leader. Is it this one? No, wait. My mic falls off. It's time to go, guys. This thing is giving me a hard time. Everything is here giving me a hard time. Okay, so here's the long arm. Hi, how are you? Maybe you can see me here. Hopefully it's not going up in my face like the other one is. I think sometimes like comedic relief because I'm so under pressure when I do live streams. Putting you on. Maybe I could finish this week. Can I finish this week? Anyway, I was asked by one of my friends if I wanted to do a whole bunch of custom quilting. So my question is, well, you'd guys like to watch me custom quilt tons of quilts. I think the lady who she's asking me for has 30 quilts. And custom quilting, man, it's torture. But a lot of her quilts are applique. Look how beautiful you are. Oh, you would be delicious when I remove you from the... Oh, you're going to be beautiful. You are beautiful no matter what they say. Anyway, let me see. Let me see if I could get you to look at me. Sweet computer. You see my back, huh? If you guys are here, you're probably gone. Maybe y'all are here. Let me see. Open. Letting you know that I'm letting you go. I really love everybody who was here. Christy Richards, everybody. Marlene, Diana. Do I have a personal favorite color? I'm going to answer your question, Diana. Do I have a personal favorite color on fabric, on thread? I really love soft, monotone, like pastel colors for threads. Yes, I hope that my favorite color is burgundy. Lately, I'm falling in love with teal and aqua. But yeah, okay, let me answer your question. How many hours do you usually quilt a day? All right, on my busy seasons, I will quilt. Okay, my busy seasons where I have like 15 quilts to do a week, I will be up here from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. So in general, I can finish 5 quilts. That's the goal when I'm really busy. And just keep in mind that I'm a bit of a procrastinator. Well, I have a lot going on in life. So when I come up here, I am grinding it out to get at least 5 quilts done. And let me just keep in mind, some of those 5 quilts are like baby quilts, like that baby quilt I just shared. I'll do probably, if I only have baby quilts to quilt, I could probably, they take about an hour and a half to do. That means set up and get going. I could probably get 10 of those done in a day. And keep in mind, it's not just the quilting, it's I'm getting the bobbins ready. I'm getting the quilt backs on leaders. I made myself, hold on, let me see. I made myself another, and this is a set of leaders. I made, originally I only had, the Gamma set I only had 2 sets, but I really had 3 because I only used 2 leaders. One for the top of the back and one for the back, bottom of the back fabric. And while I am working up here on one quilt, I am getting probably 5 to 6 quilts leaders on the back fabric. Okay, so like right now, you just saw me take a quilt off, pull it off a leader, and put another quilt, and it probably took less than 5 minutes, the transition. And then I also have, let me share another thing while I leave the camera. I'll move you here so you can let me here. I also have 2 bobbin winders, and let me see. I have created, let me show you how it works though. I'm sorry, I'm looking at something so I could show you how I think and how I work. When I am up here working, for example, I have made these. These. Oops, let me move you here. I have made these, and they hold bobbins. For example, I have old pre-wound bobbins of yellow, and what I do is, right now that it's not separated, I separate these and put it on the yellow spool. And if I see this little thing right here, it shows me that I have already wound bobbins. Now, these are already wound bobbins that I worked on from like probably, several quilts, maybe a couple weeks back, a week back. So I wind all the bobbins, and this is how I hold them. So let's say my client picked this thread for them. They pick this thread. What I'll do is, this is my little spool, and I will have the pre-wounds with the spool. So I have now also too the bobbins wound. Wait, let me see. And come on, I created this little tool for myself because I needed to find a way to organize all these bobbins because I had a whole bunch of them wound already, and it makes a mess in the drawer. So I created this little tool here to have it hold it, and it holds with the spool. So I know that this spool has some bobbins wound in it. Now these I need to kind of like organize and put back with the spools, but I was working so much I kind of just threw them to the side. This also has a magnet, So when I'm done, when I'm ready to work on the next quilt, these are stuck on the long arm, and I'll show you how that. I don't know if you can see. Do you see it? So this sticks to the long arm like that. And so when I'm working on a couple clients' quilts, I'm already getting the back fabric done, and then I'll put the spool with their quilt, or when I'm ready to transition, I literally put all the bobbins that are wound for that quilt specifically right here so I could grab and go. And then this bottom tray that I have down here, I tend to have, before I used to have my bobbins in there and it would make a mess. Now, the only thing I put in there is my empty bobbins. Does that make sense? So from here to the long arm and then empty, there's this kind of, try to be, is it focusing? So from here, this goes to the long arm, and it's removable, like right there, to the long arm, to here. Now, why do I do that? I have the back fabric ready, and then I have the bobbins ready, because I'm not wasting time. Hold on. Let me see if I could get you again. I'm not wasting time getting things ready. So that transition from one quilt to the next quilt, it literally takes me 5 minutes. I also, at the time, if I need to cut back fabric for a client, if I need to piece the back fabric for a client, I'm doing that while I'm doing the leaders, and then everything is ready to go. So I have back fabric cut, everything ready, and then I just put it on and start like that. I tend to just hustle the transition as quickly as possible, and then get the long arm running like I did when I started this video, and then I'll trim the quilt, and then I'll put more back fabrics on leaders, and then I'll check the back fabric of my client's quilts, make sure all the thread is gone. And so I am like here grinding it out. So on a king size quilt, if I'm doing king size quilts, usually king size quilt can take 3 to 4 hours, and I will do 2. If I have a queen, I could probably do 3 in a day. If I have a twin, I could probably, or twins only, I could probably do 4 twins. And then usually I'll shove a baby quilt here and there, because they only take like an hour and a half or 2. So now, when I'm not busy, I'll come up here probably either early in the morning, and I'll get 2 or 3 quilts done, and then I'll do some errands. So I'll probably be here from like 8 in the morning till like 2 o'clock. I'll go have lunch, and then I'll come back if I want to and work on another 2 quilts. If I'm not, for example, if I only have 5 quilts that week, hold on, I'm going to let the dogs in because they're hot. Hold on. I will, you coming? It's hot. All right. You don't want to come? Be careful. If I have 5 quilts that week and that's all I have, I will, depending on the size of the quilts, I will always work on the smaller quilts first and then finish the largest quilt later. Or, and this because I'm very, I'm very motivated by finishing. So if I finish 3 baby quilts and then I'm going to work on a big giant king size quilt, I'll probably put that last, and then I'll start working on it either that day or the next day. And the reason is I'm like, you know what, I did 2 quilts, I'm doing great when it's a slow week. And a slow week to me is when I have 5 quilts. A slow week is when I have only 3 quilts. A medium to busy week is when I have 8 quilts. And sometimes I have a client who will bring me 4 or 5 quilts, and so I'll try to work all her quilts in one shot, get her all done, and I'll spend a day on that. So it just depends. There was a time where I would come here at 3 in the afternoon, maybe 3, and I would be here till, depending on the load or workload, I would be here for probably like, if I work at 3 and in 2 hours I could finish maybe a baby quilt or throw or twin. I'll be out of here by by 6 o'clock. If it's real busy, I'll just kind of start the day early and work. So honestly, the neat thing about custom long arm quilting is it's yours to do. Like, it's yours to do. My favorite kind of work day is I take 5 days off and I kill myself in 2. Like, I will be up here from 8 in the morning, grinding the hell out of it, and be done by 10 at night. And I would probably get 5 quilts done. And then the next day I would do that again, so that I have 5 days that are free and I could do whatever I want. And I could float around like a little butterfly, go here, go there. But those are really hard days. And I'm getting older. I'm 53. Is that real? Am I 53? Yeah, I'm 53. 5'3". Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saying that to me. I love you for that. I'm 53, so I've noticed that those grinded out kind of days, it's not in my heart anymore. I kind of like this kind of rhythm of a day where, like last week, for example, I'll show you my last week. Last week I worked on 2 quilts on Monday, I believe, and I believe I did them in the morning. And then I did everything I needed to do, like errands and stuff. And then Tuesday I came up here and I did a big, giant, king-size quilt. Yes. And I only had that on the long arm. And while I was working on that one, because that one took a good 4 or 5 hours, I was getting the back fabric on a couple quilts ready. And then I also got some binding on a quilt. And so I was binding on a quilt while I was doing that big king size quilt. So then what happened is I took probably Wednesday off, and then Thursday I came up here to work on a client's quilt. And you know when you have a day where a whole bunch of things come up, like I had an embroidery client come, so I did embroidery for him, and then I had a laser client come, so I did laser for them. So I kind of lost the day. I lost the day coming up because I needed to do 2 quilts that day. I came up here, started a quilt, went downstairs, did embroidery, came up here, did the quilt, and it was exhausting. Let me be honest, that day was exhausting, going up and down, doing embroidery and quilting at the same time. And I remember coming down in the house and I said, you know what, I'm just done. So I was beat. I was beat. And I went to the house. I took, I needed to finish a king size quilt that day, which it was 2 king size quilts that I had to finish. And I lost the day. I was beat. And so what I did is I went home, chilled out, ate dinner, took a whole time, and I was sitting there at night. And my son-in-law ended up putting lights in the backyard for me, like beautiful night lights in the backyard. And he also did these beautiful pavers on my yard. So, and then because I had Lily and my Cookie used to sleep in the laundry room, which leads me to this back house. Since I lost Lily, I moved Cookie with the other pups, so they sleep in a different room. And so lately, this has been something I've been doing. Like you saw my videos where I was finishing all those quilts and I had boogers in my eyes, and I had a pink shirt on, and I was in my night clothes. And I finished that night a big, giant, king-size quilt, and I was working on the antique quilt. Well, since they did the lighting for me, I've noticed that I really like coming back here at 12:30 at night and work till 3 or 4 in the morning. Which is nice because, so that, I think Thursday I lost, no, it was Wednesday. I lost the day doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't get to finish the 2 quilts. That day I came up here and I worked till, I came up here at 12:30 and I finished the quilt till 3:30. I really enjoyed it. I was going to do a live stream, but I thought it would be out of line, like waking people up at 3 in the morning. The neat thing about that is I trimmed the quilt. I got other quilts on here, and I got them leaders on there. And it was so nice just to go to bed and know that it was done than to set my alarm and wake myself up at 6 in the morning and work on that quilt from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, work on that quilt till 10 to finish it, and then have my client pick it up. I was done with it. It was trimmed. I already did the receipt. I had everything accomplished, and I slept in till 10, from 3 to 10, 3 to 11 maybe, and then my client came and picked up her quilts, and they were done. So, yeah, I kind of like that, working late at night, because I've noticed that a lot of things take my attention. Like people come over and I need to tend to my kids, or I need to go do something. I need to help my husband with something. And so coming here at night was just like, wow, that was a new time, work day time. And I kind of liked it because it was so, like it was mine. But I also did that with the tufting. I wanted to finish the tufting, and I tufted from I think it was from 1 in the morning till 4, and I finished it. That was exciting to me. But yeah, so it just varies on the amount of, I show that I have sound, so I'm sorry if you don't hear me, but I promise you I do have sound because I see it on my screen. I just noticed that it varies based on the workload. Now, when I was really busy and I was trying to pay off the laser, I was here every day from 10 in the morning till 5 o'clock. And I was trying to get 3 to 4 quilts done. Four times 4, 3. So in 3 days, I would get probably 12 quilts done, and then I would get all my clients. So it's not just the quilting, right? It's the trimming the quilt, and then you're calling the client, waiting for a client to pick up her quilt. Or one of the things I do like to do sometimes is I'll take the quilt to my client so I don't have to wait for my client, because waiting for a client is annoying sometimes. As a matter of fact, I had a client recently. She's like, can I pick it up at this time? And I'm like, no. But how about this? I take it to you, because then I'm free from that point on. And so it's just not the working on the quilting. It's the after, like making the receipts, having the quilt ready, meaning cutting all the, this is the quilt that I need to just trim it. I just need to trim it. And I need to call her. I already need a receipt. I need to, I just need to trim it. And I'm such a, not in the mood to trim it. And sometimes, this quilt was so beautiful, I had to put embroidery on it. Let me see, do you see it? Come on, camera. I had to put embroidery on it. So that took a bit of time. But anyway, I just need to trim it and it's done. So, yeah, that's the kind of workload, depending on the workload. And one of the things that's really hard for me is when I don't have work, I don't want to come up here. That's why I thank you for doing the live streams with me and spending time with me, because that quilt is for me to donate, to give away to somebody. I wouldn't come up here by myself if it wasn't about a client, me getting a quilt done for a client. It was really about, so doing these live streams really helped me because I'm talking to somebody. Yeah, kind of. I'm talking to a camera, but I'm talking to you watching me in a camera. And then I get a quilt that is mine to give or mine to donate. And it just really helps me. And so, I need to do this Jesus banner. And it's really hard for me to come up here and work on it. And sadly, I like working on stuff when I'm in a bad mood, because it calms me down. But I'm not in a bad mood often. I'm not in a, but look, but I need to finish her because she's beautiful, right? You can see how beautiful she is. And, but maybe I'll do a live stream on TikTok or on here while I'm custom quilting it, because that's just a whole different feel, a whole different way of working. It's very in your face, you're tight to the quilt. There's not a lot of quilt space that I'm using to do the custom quilting. It's also the changing of thread. I've changed several threads on this quilt, and it's just a whole different, it's more hands-on it's more intimate and personal doing a custom quilt, like you really are on the quilt. But I really do appreciate your time, and because you're helping me. That's why next time I'm going to get one of the quilts that I ordered. I'll put it on the long arm, and whoever's on my live stream, I will donate it to one of y'all and send it to you. Yeah, that would be a thing. But I need to make sure I get her quilt. And y'all could pick, while I'm doing the live stream, you guys could pick which quilt you want long-armed. If you want this one long-armed, this one's beautiful. Or if you want, oh my God, I'll show you the quilts, and I'll have the back fabric ready, and I'll have the batting ready, and I'll have the thread ready for either of the quilts, meaning the bobbins ready. And then I'll put it on the long arm while we're on the live, and then, you know, I'll just bless y'all. That's what it's about, I think. So thank you for everything, okay? I really do appreciate you. And I love you in the Lord. So I'll talk to you guys later. Please leave a comment. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. I don't ask a lot from my content, from my subscribers, but let people know that I'm here. My channel's, I want to grow my channel, and it grows and it falls to the ground, and it grows and it falls to the ground, and it really doesn't matter. It matters that you're here and that I'm here with you. So, but if you could, you know, give a girl some love, and please give some love to Lorena's Lasers. I am going to be posting there. I am going to start doing a whole bunch of content there, and see how it goes. But I appreciate you, and I love you in the Lord. And thank you, Rhonda, for your sweet, beautiful time. Oh my gosh, y'all are awesome. Sorry about my camera. It's just like up my nose. I love y'all. Bye.